Andrew, welcome to the program. I'm going to let you give a quick introduction of what it is that you do. And I know you do it well with our members and your clients, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up where you're at.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you so much for the opportunity. I like to under promise and over deliver, but you set the bar pretty high with that introduction. So I appreciate that. What I do, I'm the CEO and founder of AAA Solutions, and we specialize in two things. That's workplace culture and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we do a lot of consulting work. We do a lot of training, facilitation, and I personally deliver a lot of keynote training as well, all about how to equip leaders with ways to create better workplaces. So that's something I'm extremely passionate about.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Andrew. All right. So, Andrew, one of the questions I have for you is you talk about the 3 steps to becoming an effective leader. Can you just maybe set that stage for us? What are those 3 steps?
Yeah. So the 3 steps, and I call them the 3 P's of culture. It's purpose, people, and process. And when we talk about purpose, we're talking about amplifying your purpose. We're not just talking about a vision, mission, and set of core values sitting in your handbook that nobody knows, right? We're talking about a set of values. We're talking about a North Star that people understand, that people are motivated to follow, and that's operationalized through how you hire, through how you performance manage, et cetera. So that's what the first P talks about. The second P is all about how do you prioritize people, and that's what we're going to be talking about a lot more next month at the summit. But that's all about how do you ensure that people know that they're respected, they're valued, they're appreciated, right, and they have opportunities to grow. And then the last piece is all about the last P is about process, and that's how do you simplify processes. I've never met anyone who needed more complexity in their life or at work, but if you look at a lot of the processes and systems we have in the workplace, they're clunky and they're everything but efficient and streamlined a lot of the time. So that talks about what you can do to train better, to delegate, hold people accountable, but then also foster a level of psychological safety where you have a sense of trust built in with the team to where they can share candid feedback with you that can help you grow. So that's kind of an overview of the 3 Ps.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Andrew.
Yeah.
Also, at the foundation of what you do is you're an author. Tell us a little bit about the book that you wrote. I'm going to look at it here, The Circle of Leadership. And
Yes.
tell us, if someone was to go pick that book up off the shelf, what might they discover?
They would discover storytelling, statistics, practical application in terms of how to take the content, actually apply it in the workplace. It's a short read, so it's not long at all, but the book is all about how to create and leverage culture in the workplace. And I wrote it because I used to work for an international retailer, and the division I worked for was one of the best in the country. And it was my first job out of college, and I just assumed that every organization had a good culture, really good leadership. And I had a promotional opportunity to work in a different division with the same company. And when I got there, it felt like a completely different.
Wait, Andrew, I don't mean to cut you off. Can I get the over or under on this one?
Yeah, go for it, Bert. You got it.
Let me guess. You transferred departments and the culture was totally different.
Absolutely. Yes. Terrible.
All in the same company.
All in the same company. And I remember being mind blown, like, okay, this is a division that's bottom 3 in the company. And I came from one that's top 3, like, and it's completely different. Why is that? And I quickly learned that it came down to leadership and culture. So I started to go on this mission of figuring out how would you turn this around if you inherited this sinking ship? Like, what would you do? And there's a lot of books on culture, but there wasn't a lot that created a framework for actually elevating the culture in a systematic way that was simple to understand. So it just happened to be in my master's program at Michigan State at the time. We're doing that remotely. So I felt like I had the real life case study I was working on, and I also had the book knowledge that was being poured in, and it was the perfect environment for me to be able to create a framework to help leaders create better cultures.
Oh, awesome. That's a great story. And I have experienced that as well, particularly when I was a younger man and I left one company just believing, well, this is how companies are, right? I never worked really anywhere else other than delivering pizza or stocking a bar with beer, whatever it was. And then, you show up in your first professional job. It was great. I mean, it was a fantastic job. I unwisely took another position thinking that's how business was. And I mean, I was shocked at Holy cow, it could not have been any more different. Now, in that case, I went to a different company. So it's interesting. You were within the same company, just a different department. Andrew, tell us a little bit about prioritizing people. You're going to talk about this at the upcoming HR Summit that we're having down here in Orlando, Florida. We'll be simulcasting that across the country at the same time. And that is on October 27th. Anyway, but the topic is how to hire, engage, and retain top talent. So what might someone pick up on if they come join that conference, either live or simulcast?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite authors is Jim Collins, and he talks a lot about getting the right people on the bus, right people in the right seats, and getting the wrong people off the bus. And that's the same kind of approach that I take when I talk about prioritizing people. It's being intentional with ensuring that there's value alignment, that there's goal alignment with someone when you're even trying to explore them joining the organization. A lot of us don't do a very good job with hiring. A lot of us are not really being effective with ensuring we're truly getting to know candidates and bringing the right person on board. And then when we get there, we're not taking time to understand what motivates them. We're not undertaking time to connect with them in an empathetic way, knowing that that will allow us to get better results and have a better overall relationship. So we'll talk about how to give appreciation, how to give inspiration and recognition to people you bring on the team. Call it the AIR acronym. So we'll talk about a few different frameworks that really help uplift an organization. And, I know there's differing views on DEI and what that means in the workplace, but from a statistic standpoint, and when you look at the research, right, there's a lot that says it can help workplaces perform better. So we'll talk a little bit about how does that intersect and overlap when you talk about prioritizing people, knowing that we're all diverse, we're all different, and we want and need different things. So we'll touch on a few different topics during the session.
That's fantastic. And I know every organization, I haven't met one yet, can benefit from some of those tips. That's for sure. I'm personally looking very forward to hearing that. I did not get a chance to hear your session at our leadership conference, but what I do know is you were our #1 highest rated speaker.
Wow.
I'm sharing that with our audience because that's one reason why we wanted to bring you back. And you're bringing a different topic forward. So anyone that did listen to you at that conference can maybe benefit again from a different topic, same speaker. So we're looking forward to that. One of the things we like to do with our guests is share our poll results and get our guest opinion on the results of our poll question here. So I'm going to ask Nick to bring that up. Andrew, hopefully you can see that. And just to remind you and everyone else, the question was, what do you believe the top 3 challenges are facing leadership today? And we had a variety of selections: communication, engagement, motivation, resource constraints, work-life balance, resource constraints for time, conflict resolution, team building, performance management. What was the last one there, Nick? There was one more at the bottom. But as you delegation. So as you look at these results, Andrew, what stands out to you? And Bert, I'll invite you as well if you have any opinions or comments.
Yeah, I think the first thought that comes to mind is I'm not surprised, especially when you look at the top 3. The top 2 were the 2 of the 3 I would have selected. So I had communication, engagement and motivation, and conflict resolution as the top 3 that I was going to suggest. But I'm not surprised because money is important and you need that to get a lot accomplished in the workplace. I can see why that's up there. I see it just moved to 4th place as we're speaking. So work-life balance and the hybrid and remote workforce that we're experiencing now, going through unprecedented change. So I'm not surprised by the results is kind of my overall takeaway.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, consistently with that, we've talked a lot of times on the program. We've done a lot on the program about unionization, Phil, and you and I've talked many times that the #1 reason, a lot of people think that the #1 reason is going to be money. And that's actually about number 5, 6, or 7 on a top 10 list. And #1 really usually comes down to those softer skills, the communication issue especially. And when employees feel that they don't have a voice in the workplace, that's when they go out and they organize. That's when they unionize, because they feel that they need a voice in the workplace. They feel that their employer is not listening to them. And I think that goes both directions. And so I'm not surprised to see that communication is the number one issue there.
Yeah, and the only other color I'll put to that is the fact that when we do a lot of employee opinion and engagement surveys, and very seldom does it come back where communication is not the number one priority for the organization to improve. And even with the most organized, significant efforts in that space of communication, it sometimes doesn't get received the way it wants. And I've never been on, to your point, Bert, a union campaign, and I've done, I don't know, about 23 of them in my career. Communication was always the number one issue.
Yep.
The union will make it about pay, but it wasn't. It was always the internal communication between management and the employees, a couple supervisors in the employee group. And that fits right in line with what I heard Andrew say. In one department, fantastic collaboration, teamwork, high level of performance, same company, another department, and the absolute opposite, right? So that's where problems exist. And that often comes down to the leader and having the ability to, have the skills, give them a chance. You're going to have to invest in training and so on. But I'm looking here at the chat real quick, and it looks like Deborah is making a comment. Will the Paid Leave for All Workers Act be a topic on the program in the near future? And what I can tell you for that, Deborah, is Bert and I are working right now on a program for paid leave. It's bigger than one topic that we can cover in 30 minutes. And so he and I have been putting together a program for that, and we'll be announcing the details of that really soon. So we appreciate that, Deborah. That is definitely a very complex law, and I don't mean to jump around on topics, but that is an important one I get a lot of questions on. All right, last chance here, Andrew. This is a small word cloud. Looks like engagement was our number one single word selected. That does not surprise me either. I would not have been surprised if it would have said communication, even though you're prioritizing people. Communication would be at the heart of engagement, would it not?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think understanding what resonates with people and how they see the world and what they need and their wants and needs, and then leaders trying to fill that gap is important for them to be engaged, but that all requires effective communication.
All right. Well, Bert, Andrew, thank you very much. I want to invite everyone to go to the AIM website and check out our HR Wayfinder Summit that's scheduled for October 27th. Sign up for that. We have some great speakers, 2 national speakers. One is Andrew, who you're meeting today. The other one is Ryan Collier, who is going to talk about artificial intelligence in the workplace and how to leverage that for your advantage to gain efficiency. And then we also will have an employment law update done by Ford Harrison, who is our partner down here in Florida with our members for the last 40 years here. So we look forward to that. You're going to get a lot of good information. We appreciate you, Andrew, and we look forward to seeing you in person in October.
Thank you once again for tuning in to This Week at Work. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your colleagues. Forward our invites. Share the link, amea.org/thisweekatwork, or follow or subscribe wherever you get your news and entertainment, like LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere you are. And you can be part of the show. Send your questions and comments anytime to info@thisweek.work. We'll see you next week, 7:30 a.m. Central Time, when we discuss what's happening this week at work.